I just can't get these stories out fast enough, so I apologize for the way I look. I just came back from the gym, and I just wanted to make sure that I got an opportunity to add a couple of clips to a couple of videos that I did for last night's show that I did not have the opportunity to release today. And things are going so goddamn fast, I've got to add a couple of extra clips to the end of this video, so please stick around for the end of the video, okay? So I was talking about at the beginning of the show that the government shutdown is looming in the next couple of days, and Donald Trump has been putting off meeting with Chuck Schumer. Not that he's afraid of Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is complete weak sauce, so is Hakeem Jeffries. But a couple of days ago, Donald Trump put out this Twitter post about not wanting to meet with Chuck Schumer because they're ridiculous. Chuck Schumer's ridiculous, and they have unserious and ridiculous demands. After reviewing the details of the unserious and ridiculous demands being brought by the minority radical left, see, everybody's radical left, even Chuck Schumer, who is centrist as the day is long, but yet Donald Trump considers him to be radical left because everybody on the left is his political enemy and they're radical and he's coming after him. In return for their votes to keep our thriving country open, I have decided that no meeting with their congressional leaders could possibly be productive. They are threatening to shut down the government of the United States unless they can have over $1 trillion in new spending to continue free health care for illegal aliens. That $1 trillion, that is them, the Democrats, saying reinstate all of the Medicaid cuts that you did in the big beautiful bill, which was almost $1 trillion. It was $900 and some billion cut. And Donald Trump is now saying that it is illegal aliens. Bitch, please. Bitch, please. A monumental cost forced taxpayers to fund transgender surgeries for minors. God, this guy's a broken record. He's got like 4 talking points. All of it's radical left, Trantifa, trans surgeries, illegal aliens, and allow illegal aliens to steal billions of dollars of American taxpayer benefits. Try to force our country to, again, open our borders. Our borders have never been open, you dipshit. To criminals and to the world, allow men to play in women's sports, yet again the trans thing, and essentially create transgender operations for everyone. It's trans for everybody, folks. Everybody go in and get your trans surgery. All you gotta do is vote Democrat, and then everybody's required to get their dicks cut off or their tits cut off. Whatever, folks. These radical left viewers and policies is what allows me to win the presidential election, including all of the 7 swing states. Did I tell you I stopped 7 wars? There are consequences to losing elections, but based on their letter to me, yeah, Chuck Schumer sent him a strongly worded letter because that's what tough people do. There are consequences to losing elections, but based on their letter sent to me, the Democrats haven't even figured out yet. They are trying to eliminate the popular $50 billion rural and vulnerable hospital fund. That is Donald Trump saying, okay, so since all these Medicaid cuts are coming, of course, they're not coming until after the midterms. So anybody that wanted to vote against Republicans for all the cuts that happen, not going to happen until after the midterm elections. And there will be many right-wingers out there going, what are you talking about? Libs are talking about losing my Medicaid. I still got my Medicaid. Everything is fine. And then after the election's over with, then that's when the Medicaid cuts come. And they're like, hey, I voted for my Republican guy and I lost my Medicaid. Duh. It's because we've been telling you this shit. Anyway, that's what he's talking about there. He says that he's going to put in $50 billion, which is a drop in the fucking bucket. $900 billion is being cut from Medicaid. And he's going to put in another $50 billion to save these rural hospitals, which, by the way, many of them are closing already. They see the writing on the wall, they know what's happening, and they're already closing. So to all of you red state conservative Trump voters out there, and you see your hospital, your local rural hospital closing, and now you're going to have to drive an hour and a half to the next closest hospital because your granddad is having a heart attack and he dies on the way to the hospital. That's Donald Trump. That's the Republican Party. That's the Medicaid cuts. That's what's coming. Anyway, make America great again, transgender surgery for everyone, men and women's sports, yada, yada, common sense, horse shit. Anyway, we've got Trump's elf on a shelf over here, Little Mikey Johnson. He goes on with Jake Tapper, no, not his porn name, and he's asked about this upcoming budget, and he's basically just recycling and regurgitating everything that Donald Trump said. He doesn't have his own talking points. He just waits for Donald Trump to tweet something out, and then he just writes some notes, and then he goes on the mainstream media, on CNN and whatever, and basically just regurgitates all of it as if he doesn't have a brain of his own.
So just to be clear, there's not going to be any negotiation at this meeting. This is just going to be you and Thune and Trump telling Jeffries and Schumer, we're not giving you anything.
Look, I'm not going to get in front of the president and tell you what he will do, but
Yeah, because he doesn't know what he's going to do. Donald Trump doesn't know what he's going to do until 5 minutes before he fucking does it.
I've talked with him, a couple of times, even yesterday. And I'm telling you where his head is. He wants to bring in the leaders to come in and act like leaders.
I can tell you where his head is. Mike Johnson's head is right all the way up Donald Trump's ass.
And do the right thing for the American people. It's fine to have partisan debates and squabbles, but you don't hold the people hostage for their services to allow yourself political cover. And that's what Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are doing right now.
Fuck you, man. You don't hold the people hostage. How many times have the Republicans shut down the government over some petty ass bullshit? But all of a sudden now they're saying that Democrats are going to be holding Americans hostage? Give me a fucking break. You're supposed to be, as the Speaker of the House, using your power to put the executive branch in check. But no, you just lay down for him. You wait for Donald Trump to tell you what to do, and then you go out there and you do it because you're a bitch. But saying that the Democrats are taking America hostage when Republicans have time and time and time again shut down the government because of some petty ass bullshit grievance. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are like, hey, can we have back Medicaid? If you want our votes to keep the government open, and obviously it's getting close enough that a couple of days ago, Donald Trump put that tweet out saying we're not going to meet. I had no reason to meet with him. All of a sudden now you're meeting, so I guess you do need to meet. You do need to keep the government open. What Mike Johnson wants to do is to have a stopgap spending bill to extend this into December, into Christmas time, where it doesn't really matter and he doesn't care, and nobody's going to be paying attention. And then he won't mind at all whether or not anybody shuts down the government. But now he does. Everybody's focused on it, and a lot of funding for the military and ICE and all those people, their money is hanging in the balance of this shutdown, and a lot of people will not get paid. So now all of a sudden they really care, but yet still they don't seem to be wanting to budge an inch.
John Thune, what changed?
Well, I had a long talk with the president yesterday, Jake, and he feels the same way that I do about this.
No, you feel the same way he does, because you're about to repeat everything he said in his last bleat.
He's always open to discussion, but he wants to operate in good faith. So he decided to bring us all in. He wants to talk with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and just try to convince them to follow common sense and do what's right by the American people. Jake,
no transgender for everyone. That sounds like common sense to me. No more funding of all the illegals. You don't get $1 trillion in extra spending. It's not extra spending. It's refunding the thing that you undid. The funding that you took away.
Important to point out, the only thing we are trying to do is buy a little time. The appropriators in both parties have been working very diligently over the last many weeks to work through the appropriations process. As you know,
we're just going to have a little bit of time. Just give us a little stretch. So then it'll be the holidays. Nobody be paying attention. Yeah, let's do it that way.
The law requires us to pass 12 separate appropriations bills and to be good stewards of American taxpayers' dollars. But that hasn't happened. It usually doesn't happen in Washington. Everything gets pushed to the end of the year, right before Christmas.
Which is literally what you're saying you want to do. You want a little bit more time to push it to the end of the year where nobody's paying attention. You're literally doing that.
And there's a giant omnibus spending bill. Since I became Speaker, I've been trying to force back the muscle memory.
Anyway, he's full of fucking shit. But hey, let's see, who's tough on the other side. This is This is the tough guy that we got on the other side fighting for us. Old Chucky the Schumer's. Oh, let me get you a sandwich. Look, we wrote a strongly worded letter. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. Come on, Chuck. Show that muscle that you've got.
Well, President Trump, as
on Monday.
Yeah,
Monday.
well, President Trump, as you know, is threatening mass firings of federal workers. Thousands of them, he says. Back in March, when you were talking to the Republicans, that was one of your big sticking points. You said, I don't want to see federal workers fired. Here's what you told me back in March. Let's take a listen.
They would keep the government shut down for 6 months, 9 months, a year, till everyone was furloughed and gone and quit, and there'd be no way to stop it. So I thought that would be so devastating to the Republic and anger so many people.
Well, guess what? You didn't shut down the government because you were afraid that Donald Trump was going to do some dastardly shit and fire a whole bunch of people. Well, guess what? He did it anyway. You kept the government open, you gave away your leverage, and Donald Trump did it fucking anyway.
Leader Schumer, is the difference this time the immense pressure you are getting from your base to stand up to and fight President Trump?
He's scared shitless that AOC is going to run against him in 2028, which, by the way, she absolutely should. She should trounce him. Let's put it this way. If Chuck Schumer does not hold the line on this and allows the government to stay open, capitulating to Donald Trump, bending the knee, AOC should announce that day that she is running against Chuck Schumer in 2028.
Absolutely not. We're hearing from the American people that they need help on health care. And as for these massive layoffs, guess what? Simple one-sentence answer. They're doing it anyway.
Don't be looking like you are telling us this. We told you this back in March of this year. Everybody was screaming at you. Don't give up your leverage. Donald Trump is going to do this shit anyway. Don't give in to this. And he gave in, and Trump did it anyway. And now he's standing there going, here's the simple answer. They did it anyway. I told you. You didn't tell us shit. By the way, have you noticed that his glasses are no longer down at the bottom of his nose like they normally are? All of a sudden, he's like wearing them like a normal human being does. It's a little weird and disconcerting seeing Chuck Schumer with glasses actually on his eyes.
There's no shutdown. They're laying off all these people. The budget they've proposed says another 300,000 federal workers should be laid off. They laid off 80,000 in the Veterans Administration. They're trying to intimidate the American people and us.
They're succeeding in intimidating us and succeeding in firing all the people that you didn't think he was going to fire, but he did it anyway. Chuck.
But the bottom line is, if they fire all these people, first, the courts have brought a lot of them back because what they did was...
Until they get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court goes, oh, Trump can do no wrong. He's the president, and if he thinks it's presidential, then it's not illegal.
Illegal. And second, there's such pressure on them not to do it because of the harm it causes people that they back off. Originally, they fired 80,000 from the Veterans Administration. Now it's 30,000. That's still bad, but it should.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, my God. You know, I mean, it could have been so much worse. Only 30,000 military veterans were fired. Only 30,000. Only 30,000? Is this supposed to be a win, Chuck? Is that a win? You didn't do anything, by the way. That's because of the courts. The lower courts actually got those people, the 50,000 that got fired, their jobs back. However long that lasts, until Supreme Court says in an upcoming ruling, who knows when, that Donald Trump can fire anybody for anything at any point in any time. You don't think that's coming? That's coming.
Shows you the heat is on them when they do this, and the American people won't like it at all.
You know, back in March, you told me that you didn't have an off-ramp. What is your off-ramp this time if the government does shut down? Do you have one?
Yeah, look, God forbid the Republicans shut the government down. The American people will know it's on their back. First, they're in charge. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, so they know it's in charge. They're in charge.
Chuck Schumer should go into this meeting with, I want Medicaid to come back. I want SNAP funding to come back. I want you to say that you will not invade any more American cities with the military. I want you to cut back on all of the ICE fascistic shit. Go in there with a laundry list. You won't walk out with all of them, but maybe you'll walk out with a couple of them. But Chuck Schumer's just going in there with hopes and dreams. Hey, look, don't make me upset. I will write you a strongly worded letter. I'm so upset. I'm about to hit this desk with my tiny little fist, but I'm not going to do it because that would be uncouth and rude. Would you like me to make you a sandwich? How about a glass of milk?
Second, everyone knows that you need a bipartisan negotiation to get this done. The American people do. But third, there is going to be huge pressure on Republican senators, congressmen, and even Trump to do something about this horrible health care crisis.
Not until after the midterms when it all takes effect.
Closing of the rural hospitals, people's premiums going up $4,000 a year. A middle-class family can't afford that. I saw a mother the other day.
Look at him. He's actually focusing this to the camera like he's actually concerned about this shit.
Who said, my daughter has cancer. If these cuts go through, her treatment will end. I'm going to have to watch her suffer. That's happening all over America. So the heat will be on them if they do it. We hope they don't. We don't want to shut down.
Hopes and dreams, folks. Hopes, dreams, prayers, anything but actual strength. Anything but actually using your fucking leverage. You are already going in there you are begging Donald Trump just to give you a little acorn of a win so you could walk out there and say, look, I fought really hard for the American people and I managed to make sure that funding for the ACA stretches out another 6 months. Well, the Medicaid's going to go away and the SNAP benefits are going away and we're not going to stop the military from invading American cities and we're not going to stop ICE and we're not going to raise your pay and we're not going to do any of this stuff. But at the very least, we got the extension for the ACA for the next 6 months until the next budget fight, and then maybe we'll have to go in there and fight a little bit harder. That's the guy that is going into battle for the majority of America. That guy. AOC, run against this son of a bitch so we can be done with Chuck Schumer forever. So the meeting happened with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Donald Trump. They just went to the White House, and as they're coming out, they're giving a press conference to these reporters out here. And look, when they go on the news, they are probably not reaching as many people as they will with something like this. When they are leaving the White House and they're standing in front of the press corps, this is going to go on every major station. So this is the time that you need to shine, Chuck. This is the time where you need to say, we're strong. We came in here and we told Donald Trump what for. But instead, this is what we get.
We have very large differences on health care and on their ability to undo whatever budget we agree to through decisions and through impoundment.
First of all, who knows what rescissions and impoundment are? If you're watching me, you're probably a political wonk, so you know what rescission and impoundment means. Donald Trump gets a line item veto, so no matter what gets passed through Congress, what bills get passed through Congress, Donald Trump can just go behind their back after it's already been passed and just go, well, I don't want to fund that, and I don't want to fund that. Which, by the way, the Supreme Court just said ye can do that now. It is legal for Donald Trump to do line item vetoes. So, I mean, that was the whole thing. It's like, what is the point of doing this? But instead of saying that, Chuck, why don't you just come out there and say, hey, we went in there to try to help the American people, and he's hurting the American people by taking away their goddamn health care. Just say it simple. You're standing in front of all these cameras right now. Keep it simple, stupid. Tell the people what's what, as opposed to just we went in there, we got a lot of disagreements and stuff, and and then he wants to do the rescission, the line item veto, which I know that none of you understand, but here I am standing strong with my pants pulled up all the way up underneath of my man boobs.
As well as pocket rescissions. And I think for the first time, the president heard our objections and heard why we needed
You have to understand that we're very weak and we came in here on our back foot and we are showing absolutely no strength. And this is the first time. And he was very nice to invite us over here. I mean, the president's being very magnanimous by allowing us to come over here and talk to him for a few minutes. God damn, he's so bad at this. Jesus Christ.
bipartisan bill. Their bill has not one iota of Democratic input. That is never how we've done this before. When I was leader, we negotiated 4 times.
Dude, this is not the olden days. This is not 1992. This is not even 2017. This is 2025. It's a brand new era of fascism. And you're acting like this has never happened before. I don't understand it. Look, I'm getting really tough now. I'm starting to move my hands around.
With Republicans, and we never had a shutdown. And so it's up to the Republicans whether they want to shut down or not. We've made to the president some proposals.
What are they?
Our Republican leaders will have to talk to them about them, but ultimately he's the decision maker. And if
he's the guy with the strength, he's the guy with the big dick. I can only come in here and suggest to you some policies, what I'm not even going to talk about right now. Just go. You're standing in front of all these cameras. Fucking tell the people. I went in there to get him to stop ICE invading cities. I went in there to tell him to stop the $900 billion of Medicaid cuts. If you want our vote to keep the government open and to keep funding your military and your ICE and what have you, I want these things. God damn it. We are going to get these things or I'm not walking out of this damn building. But instead it's like, oh, well, the president, he's the man. He's the guy that's going to make the decisions. Look, I don't know what's going on in the head of Hakeem Jeffries, but he looks pretty goddamn defeated right now. And standing next to Chuck Schumer and his old, pathetic, weak, tired ass, I would too.
He will accept some of the things we asked, which we think the American people are for, on health care and on rescissions. He can avoid a shutdown. But there are still large differences between us.
It was a frank and direct discussion with the President of the United States and Republican leaders, but significant and meaningful differences remain. Democrats are fighting to protect the health care of the American people, and we are not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of everyday Americans. Period. Full stop.
I mean, look, I am not a fan of Hakeem Jeffries at all, but standing next to Chuck Schumer, he sounds like a fucking fire breather. You just saw all that weak sauce coming out of Chuck Schumer's mouth. At least he's saying a couple of political points. He's not being very specific about it. The $900 billion of cuts, the ICE invasions, the military invasions, the cuts to SNAP, the ridiculous tariffs that are fucking up everybody's economic bag right now. He should be saying that stuff very specifically. Hell, drop an F-bomb, man. You'll get played all over the fucking place. But I wanted to play you that just so I could show you what Donald Trump actually thought of this particular meeting and how much he took it into consideration, how serious he took it.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
That's what Donald Trump thought of you, Chuck. That's what he thought about your little meeting. He did not take you seriously one fucking bit. He scrambled some intern to put together a goddamn AI clip, not to mention the racist part of it, of, you know, putting Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero and playing that music. That was, I mean, the racism aside, he is just basically saying to you and to everybody, I don't give a fuck about this meeting. They can go fuck themselves. And just a little add on to the end of this. This is Hakeem Jeffries standing on the Capitol steps, and he's got something to say about this AI clip where he actually shows a little bit of fire, but the fire he's showing is not for the American people. It's just for himself.
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my...
Weak, man. Just weak. Just fucking weak. God damn. All of this stuff is just so goddamn pathetic. The only thing he got fired up about was the AI video of him. That's the only thing he seemed to be fired up about. It wasn't about the fact that Donald Trump is doing everything he can to bankrupt America. Not just monetarily, but morally. All of the things that Donald Trump is doing, all of the things the Republican Party is doing, all of the things that Congress is doing without keeping Donald Trump in check with those checks and balances. The Supreme Court allowing him to just do whatever the fuck he wants to, like he's some goddamn king. The only time you see Hakeem Jeffries get fired up is when he is say it to my face about, a bit of racism. The point of that little AI clip wasn't the racism. The point of the AI clip, there was plenty of racism to it, but the point of the clip was Donald Trump doesn't think you or Chuck are shit. He thinks nothing of you. He thinks nothing of your proposals and your strongly worded letters and your mealy mouth nonsense on the news and your word salad. He does not care about you. He does not care about America. He cares about his own self-interest and he wants to be a dictator. So, thanks for showing a little bit of fire there, Hakeem. Good for you, bud. I hope it made you feel better. It certainly got a couple of those Democrats standing behind you to give you a round of applause. Jesus. Anyway, apologies for having to add on and me looking like I just left the gym because I did just leave the gym. So sorry about that. Have a good day. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.